There you go.
Sure. I feel all out of sorts not having Stacey here.
Oh, really? I didn't know that you'd thought that.
Poor Stacey.
No, we miss you, Stacey. You'll
Very
be the only
much.
one watching.
Our number one fan, besides me.
We lose a contributor, but gain a fan.
Yes.
Yeah, so
At least that there's a little
One
bright side.
single fan.
So Jennifer made us watch Apocalypse Now.
I didn't know what I was getting into.
Gunga Din.
Yeah, that was something. I am really glad I watched it, and I'm glad I never ever have to watch it again.
You know what it did for me is it made me Google about the war, because I really didn't know enough. I mean, maybe the age or whatever, the Vietnam War. I'm like, how long? It seems like it went on forever. Oh, it did go on forever. And why was the US involved? Oh, so it really actually opened my eyes to, I really didn't know what it was, to be honest. Not enough, anyways.
Well, it's funny because I remember talking to Debbie years ago, and then she said something, well, America wins all their wars. And I go, no, they don't. And she goes, what do you mean? Of course they do. They never would lose a war. And I go, Vietnam War, really good example. They lost. She goes, they did not. And I go, yeah, they did.
Well, they also thought they won the War of 1812, which we think we won because we're Canada.
Well, they're still there, so they won from that perspective. But
yeah.
It just I knew it was about Vietnam, and I really didn't know, and that Martin Sheen was in it. I really didn't know
the politics of it.
I thought it would be less, well, no, not less graphic, less drawn out, and
it was very arty. So it reminded me of the 2001 Space Odyssey, which apparently is a classic and, revered by many people as being, the epitome. And it's like, I hated it because it was so long and drawn out.
I loved it.
Yeah. And other people loved it. And same with this Apocalypse Now, even though like the subject is difficult, I'm still willing to watch a difficult subject, but it was a 3-hour and 2-minute movie. It should have been an hour and a half movie, and they had enough. Even an hour.
Drawn out.
They could have done it in an hour.
It was drawn out, and I understand, looking back on it, things like the further up the river they went, the more bizarre things got, the more troubles they had, and that you had to have the behaviors and personalities of war, whether it's surfing in the middle of Vietnam or in the middle of bullet fire, and the bizarre nature of warfare.
Yeah, and it showed the trauma of war. They showed the people who were scared of war, the members of the army who were like, petrified to be there, and the ones who was like, we're taking them all on. So like it did give you the variety.
Yeah.
But so it stars Martin Sheen, and he's Captain Benjamin Willard, and he's sent to get Colonel Walter Kurtz, who played by Marlon Brando, who we don't see until the last little bit of the movie. We spend 2 hours going down that river, trying to find out if he's going to get to his mission is to stop this renegade member of the military. So
who's gone off the rails is what.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it feels like everyone was all of them were off the rails.
Including him at the beginning, right?
Yes,
like in his hotel room, you're like, ooh.
Yeah. I don't know if the beginning is the end of the movie.
Possibly.
What? Yeah.
I sort of see it.
Because we don't see a great end, do we?
But the end is terrible. And that's why I think the beginning is the end of the movie.
It might be the end of the movie.
Because he doesn't.
And did it bleed into the beginning of it? Like that he was back in that hotel room?
Well, you don't know. You are assuming he's going to be saved because, he's killed them. and he's, somehow they didn't revolt against him, which you would assume would happen.
The people, yeah.
If he kills father, you know what I mean? The leader, like there was a bunch of things like that didn't make much sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
That like the one thing that really bugged me was when they first got there and the camera guy jumps out. He's got 4 cameras hanging around his neck, like a tourist in Tokyo. Like, you don't have 4 cameras. If you've been there forever, you have 1 camera.
You have one film that cannot be used over and over again.
That's right. And when he's got 4, they're dangling and they're see how important I am. And I go, that's not what you would do.
Yeah.
Not.
I saw that too, and I thought, I wonder if they wrote him in for that, because he was very much, hey man, like.
Was that Dennis Hopper? Yeah, so that was Dennis Hopper.
His personality was like, hey man, like the war man, Vietnam man. And I'm like,
So Dennis Hopper and Marlon Brando did not get along. So much so that they were not allowed to be in the same scene with each other. And where they were not filmed at the same time. They made it so they did not have to talk with each other.
I did not know that.
Okie dokie. So the first part started out, and then you meet all the crazy people, and they certainly did. So it's Francis Ford Coppola, who also did the Godfather. He was the one who directed this, and I see the idea of wanting to tell a certain kind of story about the Vietnam War,
the narrative in a certain way,
but it didn't really help me feel connected with anybody. I didn't understand it. Maybe we're not supposed to understand war, but there were a couple of when the French guy said, you Americans are fighting for the biggest nothing, I thought that kind of shows you what war is that you think you're fighting for something, but they thought you're fighting for nothing. You don't even know what you're fighting for.
Oh, no, their reason for fighting was to go against the communists. That was their thought process of, we need to stop this communism.
Yeah.
And the MacArthur hearings and stuff in the States, rooting out communists in Hollywood, and like they just didn't want communism to win. The Red Scare bothered them.
Yep, for sure.
So they were willing to go to war just to stop another country from being communist, which is
but
really
for
strange.
20 years.
It wasn't really 20. It was essentially 60.
Well, not for the States, 70. But the war lasted 20 years.
Well, it was initially the French, and the French needed to be saved because they, just like the Dutch in South Africa, went and took over and installed themselves as colonists in South Africa. That's what the French did in Vietnam, and
I didn't know that. I had to realign my brain with history because when those French people were there with their little plantation sort of thing in the middle of absolutely nowhere with gorgeous dinnerware and tablecloths.
In the middle of the jungle.
I know. And these women with wonderful dresses on and their hair curled. And I thought, what are the French doing in Thailand? So I had to go back and do a little history lesson. And I'm like, but why do they have a plantation absolutely in the middle of nowhere? Like nowhere.
Yeah.
They had to get there by boat, right? So
they didn't want to leave so much. Like they
wanted to
look at it and go, they want to be French. They talk French. They want the accoutrements of the French around the table. Then they go, why don't you just go back to France? No, we've been here forever. No, well, France is where you belong. Like you're desperately wanting to be French.
Yeah.
So get back there. But people, land is like gold. Once it gets in your blood, you can't leave it. You can't, it means too much to you to get up and leave. And that's why the war started. The French said, we need help. And America helped the French and tried to, help them be colonial. It all fell apart everywhere there. Indonesia was the Dutch. And the French did a lot of different places, like Algeria, a lot of places in Africa, Ivory Coast. So much of Africa was colonized by the French. The Congo. Actually, that was a trivia question. What is the largest city with a French city? What's the largest French city? And it's the Kamchatka or whatever, the capital of Congo. The largest French city in the world. Paris isn't.
Right. It's not Paris.
It would not. Yeah, I would not have known that.
I know. I didn't either. It was the trivia question. Somebody's asking everybody on the street, and everybody's going like all over the place. Montreal.
I did have to go into like geography maps and look at where the North and South were, how close they were to other countries, how they were affiliated with, how many communist countries were there, how many communist countries did we ended up having, which I think is only 5 or something. Is that right? There's only currently 5 communist countries?
No, there'd be a lot more than that. You'd have a lot of the Turkmenistans and stuff like that would be communist, and Georgia and so let me ask ChatGPT.
Well, I don't, because Russia's not communist. It's totalitarian. What is that word?
Totalitarian?
No, it would be considered communist. I mean, they have parties and they have elections, but that's just sort of fake. Like it's
like the states.
Yeah. So the states is not a democracy; it's a republic.
Yeah.
And people think it is. It's a representative republic. So you get elect a representative, and they do the voting for you in the Senate and the House. You know what I mean? They do that. So they represent you and then vote for you, because you can't have everybody vote. Back then, I mean, you could now with the internet. You could have a true democracy where everything gets voted on by the people. But it's a representative democratic republic or something. Let me ask how many communist countries are there?
Yeah, there wasn't any scene that I thought, oh, that's a great scene. Like I said,
I'm glad I watched it, but I don't think I'd ever recommend it.
Yeah. So there's a few, like they say it's such an artsy movie, and I just kind of didn't get it. There's a few kind of things, like when he was in the room at the beginning and the ceiling fan blades were going, and then they turned that into the helicopter blades. I thought that was clever and cool, and I got it. And the rest of it's, I'm going, I don't get it.
Oh, I thought the water at the end, and he's coming out of the water. I thought the Marlon Brando stuff was fantastic when he had the war paint on, and he's talking and then he's in another scene. He's very articulate and reading from Time magazine and talking with no war paint on, and you go, oh, sounds like somebody I want to have a discussion about politics with.
Well, I couldn't tell once he got there. And like they kind of imprisoned him, Willard. Like how long was he really there for? Like it felt like it was there for days, but it could have been hours. I couldn't tell.
Well, the other guy, we said at 2,200 hours, which is 10 o'clock at night. It would be dark out. Called in for the bombing. Go ahead and bomb it, even if we're still here. If I'm not back by 2,200 hours, call in the bombing. Yeah. Well, he wakes up in the morning, not 2,200 hours. Martin.
This is the recording. You get to go on YouTube now.
You're
YouTube famous.
He's going to be YouTube.
We're going to get so many views on this video.
Yeah.
Who's the hot guy in the jeans?
He can't hear this, so that's really good.
You'll have to watch it so he knows.
He might become a fan then. He does go through YouTube.
Jennifer, you said there are 5 communist countries. You're way off. It says here there are 5 communist countries. China, Cuba, Laos, North Korea, and Vietnam.
Because Russia it's not communist, it's
something else.
Yeah, I don't know the terminology. Like it sounds like utilitarian or something like that. Like it's
well, they still have it's still the what are the guys called who are the rich oligarchs? I mean, it's still the people who are party central who got rich, and the masses essentially stay poor. Like most of the money's with these few rich people, and then everybody else is sort of the same. The difference here is we allow really poor, middle class, really rich. Over there, it's some rich, and then the rest are the same kind of poor. Mm-hmm. You're a doctor, and you make the same amount of money as the farmer, it's the same as the barber, same as that's sort of what they don't have sort of capitalism. Although some capitalism's crept into Russia for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When they allow McDonald's in and such, but McDonald's is out now. They got rid of McDonald's because of the Ukraine war.
The only thing that this movie made me do was research a little bit more history and geography, because I I got off onto tangents like the Strait of Hormuz and then the Iran Iraq. Like I just it just kind of made me do a little more research than just someone born in the late 60s. It really had, Vietnam had no effect on me. So, and I don't think we particularly hit on it in Canadian high school.
No.
So I really didn't know. So it made me do some reading on it, and I had no idea that it went on for as long as it did. And then I'm like, why did the states, like, why? Because of communism, okay. But why is it our business?
Well, so they set up a false flag in the Bay of, saying an American ship was attacked by the Vietnamese. So
Which
we
was
got
fake.
yeah, they faked it. They came out when the what's it call it papers in the 70s. That guy, the something papers. So they came out that was totally faked, and they then said, "Oh, we get to attack them now because they attacked our ship," and that's what got them involved in the war. They just want they're warmongers, just like now. There's a lot of warmongers out there, and the warmongers like really want to go to war, and they're not the warmongers who did Iran, because Iran is not really warmongering, because warmongering is when what you did to Iraq and Afghanistan, and that is sending thousands of troops, spend tons and tons of dollars. All he did was bomb the crap out of it, and it stayed at a distance, and minimal
Impact.
casualties are going to happen because of it. So that's different than I mean, they have to buy new munitions and new drones and new planes, and all this kind of stuff has to happen but that kind of stuff goes through anyways. It's the building of the forces that you need to do that become expensive, and the warmongers really, really want that. So,
there are a lot of good lines, like I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
What's the other ones? Charging a man with murder is like handing out speeding tickets at the Indy 500. There's a bunch of them. Let's see. So the thing I wrote is by the time they got, so I'm getting to I got 3 pages of notes.
Wow.
Now, I'm getting to the end of page 3. And Willard is locked up, and then the kids were running around. And then I wrote, how long has this been? And then I said, please kill him so this movie will be over. It's just like, please just get to the guy, kill him. Did you catch all the connections between The Godfather? I didn't find any Bewitched and Star Trek ones, but Francis Ford Coppola did The Godfather, right? So Marlon Brando was also in The Godfather. Robert Duvall was in The Godfather. And the Senator Pat Geary, he played General Corman. And then there was Harrison Ford. We saw him at the very beginning.
Young Harrison Ford.
Very young.
Oh, so, yes. At the beginning where they were getting him to take the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd heard Harrison Ford, and I'm like, who? And then who was the other one? The guy from The Matrix. The black guy from The Matrix.
That's one.
Fishburne. Yeah.
As a young guy too,
yeah.
I was like, no way! I could barely see it.
Yeah.
So there was something that I really liked, and that is the line, "Charlie, don't surf." Mm-hmm. There's a song by The Clash. I'll play it now, and hopefully we don't get kicked off because I'm playing some music.
It's a song?
Yeah, can you hear this?
Not yet. Nope.
I can't say as if I know a single Clash song.
No. It doesn't look like it's playing.
You don't hear that at all? It's weird.
Nope.
I got my microphone here and the speaker's there.
Nope.
There's Charlie don't surf and we think he should. Charlie don't surf and we know that it ain't no good. Charlie don't surf for his hamburger mama. Charlie's gonna be a napalm star. That's the lyrics in the song, and it's from Sandinista by The Clash.
So
it's
now,
a very light kind of song, and then he goes, "Charlie don't surf," like he said that. So that song was written because of that movie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I didn't. The only thing that I could get out of that whole surf thing was the craziness that these people thought they would normalize what they were doing with something from back at home. Because I'm like, there's bombs flying in the water.
Yeah.
Why
Why would you be out there surfing?
why must you get on your surfboard, go get on your surfboard? You're like, what? There's
Yep.
like bombs in the water. They're
Yep.
shooting people. What are you doing?
Well,
Yeah.
they're trying to show that this guy has so much power and he really likes surfing. He's going to get this surfer dude who he knows from TV or whatever, and he's going to, say, go do it. And I mean, there's a bit of stupid power. That's sort of how I see this war thing. When these guys sit in a hotel room and go, we need you to kill this guy, go assassinate him. And we've got reasons to it. And he starts reading about the guy and goes, guy's brilliant. He's wonderful. He comes from West Point and he's like the top of his class. And now I got to kill him.
Accolades everywhere, awards.
What happens if those two guys telling him are bad guys? And he's not supposed to kill him. He's a wonderful, you know what I mean? Like
Maybe he's woke.
No, maybe somebody is against him. They don't like that guy for whatever reason. So it's not a real army command. How would you know what real army commands are when they come over the radios? You must kill him. Like, what happens if somebody else is telling you that? What happens if somebody is telling you that's my enemy and I want him dead, so I'll just tell my guys to go kill my enemy? Like the fog of war is so. I think that's why they showed a lot of fog in this, because they're trying to talk about the fog of war. It's so hard to understand what's real and what's not, what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. Like what's the truth and
Who's the bad guy?
I mean, they said all the time in Afghanistan, they would, haul people in and start interrogating them. And the guys would know of these innocent people, but would say, oh, they're guilty over there. And then America goes and bombs that little encampment and they just got rid of their enemy. They're a warlord and they got America to go get rid of their enemy. It's because they gave them information of that they're terrorists getting, bombs and guns and IUDs together. And so like that kind of stuff happened all the time, that they, played the game inside the game and ran their whole infrastructure. I mean, think about it, what America did in Afghanistan, and then they walk away and now women are back to having to wear full body burqas and like nothing's changed in Afghanistan. In fact, it's worse than it was before they went in and attacked it. Because the real Muslims are now like the ISIS kind of guys are now running the show. Yeah.
I don't know too much about the politics and stuff of the Vietnam War. All I know is I just don't like war. I don't know how easy it is to justify any killings that get done.
I had a hard time knowing where they were on the map during this, but how do you know North Vietnam people from South Vietnam people?
Yeah, but when
you're
you cross
shooting
the
from
border,
the sky,
and you're
when you're shooting from the sky, is it what they're dressed in? Well, why wouldn't they just dress as South as opposed to North? Or
well, it's not dressing. You know where the front lines are, so you
know. But those people are running. They're running for their lives. Of course, they would try to escape across borders.
Yeah,
you're just going to shoot willy-nilly?
There's no lines.
So across border, like Laos in Cambodia. Laos was some place the Americans were never supposed to be, and they would cross their airplanes and bomb people who are trying to hide out in Laos, because the insurgents who are trying to go after the Americans and the South Vietnamese would be hiding in Laos. You know what I mean? They would just go there anyway. So now America's also bombing Laos, which they tell everybody they're not. We're not doing that. We would never invade. We're only doing Vietnam.
Well, plus they ended up going up the river so far to Cambodia, is where the Marlon Brando was. He was all the way up in Cambodia,
That's
right?
why he was somewhat untouchable, because he's in a country that you're not supposed to be going into. America's not supposed to go there.
Right. That's why he was so undercover.
There's a line about this never happened, or what was the word?
Yeah.
This is he's going to a place that doesn't exist, or
apparently it's based on a book, and it does not make me want to read the book.
No,
I didn't like that cow being killed at the end. I don't know how real that was, because I didn't see a cow flailing itself, which sort of is good. You know what I mean? Like they
killed the cow at the same time as Willard was killing Kruger.
I know, and that sort of means that they're hearing all this noise happening, but the cow just sort of went down and down and something. And if you're really killing a cow it's bucking and doing all this stuff, and it's not. So I'm pretty sure they didn't actually kill a cow, but the way they hit the back of the neck and you see all the flesh there, and I'm just I'd rather see Marlon Brando die than the cow die. I don't want the cow to die.
Yeah. And I think they said the horror.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of times.
And
Did I
think,
miss the ending? How did they get back?
he got on a boat. He got on a boat. We don't know.
He's on the boat with the one guy left.
One guy.
There's one guy left, and he's on the boat. And I'm thinking, how did that one guy was the guy who initially went in with him? But I thought something happened to him, because then he went back to the boat, and obviously the radio guy who was told that call at 2200 hours, he woke up in the morning and he gets on the radio. And
didn't he get killed?
Well, yeah, that's the head that landed in his lap.
Yeah.
So what happened is, obviously he wakes up and it's morning. It's not 2200. And he gets on the radio going, he's not back. It's past 2200 hours. I'm calling in the strike. Well, somehow Marlon Brando finds out about this because he comes back with his head. Because all you see is he's on the radio now going, shit, it's morning, crap. And he gets on the radio, which means he's called in the airstrike. But before he could, he got caught, and Marlon Brando pops his head down. That was a pretty gross, because he had his neck with a wire under it, and then he drops the head on, and you see him do this, and it's around his ear, and that's
pretty gruesome.
Yeah,
but in some ways, I appreciate the gruesomeness of war when they display it, as opposed to Hogan's Heroes. The POW camps are like, ha ha ha, we're just gonna, we're gonna fool Colonel Klink. That's what war is about. And it's like, no, not quite.
Well, so here's the funny thing about that. Do you remember them talking in Hogan's Heroes? They called it Luftstalag. Luftstalag.
Okay, sure.
You remember them saying Luftstalag?
Luftwaffe is what I remember.
It's a Luftwaffe, yeah. Those were Luftwaffe, and those were airmen that were held. And they treated airmen with much more respect than they treated normal prisoners of war or the Jews or whatever. Yeah. So not that they had it that nice, but they did have it better, and they did let the Red Cross stuff in, and they did, you know what I mean? It was a different scenario in the Luftstalags.
Sure, but it wasn't quite,
and that's one of the things I thought about Dad. I remember I said to him, well, you got to watch your show, Dad. You love it. And he goes, I think Mom had said no because of what he'd been through in Holland. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to see where they're joking about the Germans. But the fact that he didn't force us not to watch it, right? That would have been an easy thing to do, because he's so mad at it. I don't want my kids to be thinking that it was lighthearted or funny. And he never did, which was pretty, a thing I can think back that he was very easygoing about, that he could have absolutely hated and had a reason to tell us to turn it off.
But it's funny, I won't say to this day, but I've always had this feeling that Germany was, it was a bad place. Bad stuff happened there. And it's like, it wasn't anything I can recall hearing, but I just remember when we traveled in Europe, and when I was in Germany, I was just a little bit uneasy. And it's like, it's full of wonderful people now. I shouldn't be feeling this, but I think it's like, that's an inherited trauma that I can't process, because it doesn't make any sense, because it shouldn't affect me. But I do recall, just
I think war is the history is written by the victors of war. They get to write the history, and so you don't get to see the other side of it at all. You just don't. Yeah. And there's another truth somewhere. There's a line right at the end of World War II in Berlin where a girl writes in her diary, and she said, so this is as the Russians were coming into Berlin, and as the Americans were coming, that's why Berlin was split city, because Russians owned half of it and Americans owned the other half. They set up the Berlin Wall right in the middle, and that's how it ended, the stalemate there. But what happened was, as this is all happening, the girl writes in her diary, better to have a Russian on your belly, which means being raped by a Russian, than have Americans overhead, which meant the bombing, because that's indiscriminate, and it just, the walls come down and crash on you, and you die, and you get water and are crushed to death.
That's a poignant line, isn't it?
Just being raped by a Russian that's just being raped by a Russian. I can live to the next day, okay? You know what I mean? Like, So we don't imagine that the Americans might have been thought of as even worse.
Right.
But when they essentially America for the last year and a half did indiscriminate bombing in Germany, like it was what they did was horrific.
Yeah.
And they were trying to pay back the Germans for all the stuff they learned about the concentration camps, and like they just wanted to like blast into kingdom come kind of thing. If they would have had the atomic bomb before then, they probably would have dropped it somewhere in Germany too. I think that would have happened if they hadn't bowed out before the atomic bomb was tested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, good to watch, but
I'm glad I got it over with. Is that a good?
But it's a classic. It's you know, and it's something that you know you can say you've seen. It doesn't mean it was a pleasant movie to watch, but but art isn't intended to be pleasant all the time, and war certainly isn't a pleasant subject. So
I thought it showed a very strange political bent on what happens that's needed to understand or know that those things go on. That war isn't you're sitting there, I'm trying to shoot you, you're trying to shoot me. They're giving me more bullets and they're giving them more bullets, and let's see who aims the best. That's not what war is. War is this ugly game of politics played by people who tell somebody to go out and go kill somebody because I want it. They're not going to die. They're just sitting in offices telling things to happen.
Yeah, there's good bad guys and bad good guys, and it's everything in between.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over.
I like
something else a little bit more lighthearted.
I will. I don't totally off chain there.
Oh, so because for a while there we were watching war movie after war movie. Jeff was picking, and we had all kinds of the Judgment at Nuremberg, the Young Lions, The Longest Day.
I love the Young Lions. If you want to see an interesting World War II movie, Jen, The Young Lions is quite good. And Brando's in that too, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he's a blonde guy.
Yeah, very blonde.
I haven't seen any of those.
The Young Lions is you see actually both sides. You see when Germany's winning the war, and you see their happiness and frivolity, and then you see when they're losing the war and what happens to them. Like, remember that one girl who slept with the general, and at the beginning of the war, living in pantyhose and chocolates and
everything's
all was
good.
wonderful. Yeah, she's like the sexy girl that all the generals want to sleep with. And then at the end of the war, the whole town's been bombed out, and the guy goes back to visit her. And like she's a wreck of a human being now, has nothing, no money, starving. You know, like it was.
I think it showed the end of the war too, right? Going into the concentration camp, or was that somewhere else? Yeah, that was touching to me because we had relatives in
and he didn't know about that. In other words, he's the young lion. Brando's the German who's still alive, walking back to Germany. And he ends up going by concentration camps, and sees what's happening and is sort of shocked by it.
Yeah,
and never thought that's what Germany was about.
Yeah, didn't know that was what going on.
What the war was about. Yeah.
Most people don't really understand war. I don't even know the people fighting will always say, they do what they're told to do, and the reasons aren't always known.
Judgment in Nuremberg sort of taught us that piece. Yeah. No, I liked it for the French thing that they did, because the French were sort of the instigators of the Vietnam War, and their lack of the ability to say, let's go back to France, and not they'd rather die and have all their other people killed than just go back to France and do the life they want to do, because they obviously want that French kind of life. And I know you're going to lose it, but you probably have enough money from your plantation over the past. Just go. Just let them have their land back. They want it.
So I'll give you a math problem. This movie was 3 hours and 2 minutes long. And then in 2001, they did Apocalypse Now Redux. DUX. I don't even know.
I watched the 3:15. I watched the 3 hour and 15 minute version.
Well, so this is 3 hours and 22 minutes, but they added 49 minutes.
What?
So I don't know how they could have 40.
Well, that means they got rid of some stuff they didn't think they needed.
They must have, or they made some of the intro shorter or something. But it was 3 hours and 22 minutes. So they had added some scenes. So
I'm glad we only saw the 3 hour and 2 minute one.
How did you see that one when I saw the 3 hour and 22 to 15-minute one?
There's only one on MB.
Apocalypse Now Redux is called 3 hours and 22 minutes, and it is 49 to 53 minutes longer.
When did you watch it, Jen?
Oh, 2 days after we had our last meeting.
So I looked, and there was a version that was sort of choppy and doing stuff. So I went and got another one and put it up. And so that's probably why you saw the 302 and I saw the 3.
Oh, yeah. It was either the night after we had our last movie review. It was quite soon. When did you watch it, Anita?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so it was about 2 weeks ago. I would have switched them over. So you would have. I've seen the 316 and you watched the 302 one.
Or Jeff. Now we know. Now we don't know what the difference were.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff saw a better movie.
The movie.
Let's go watch it. Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? No. No, thank you.
And Martin
I really, that scene? Tell me what you think happened in the French place. Everybody leaves the table. He's finally left with the wife of the guy who died already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like her husband had died. And then she gets him to do heroin.
Right.
So he's like sucking on that bong, doing back some heroin. She's convincing him to do it because he didn't even want to drink wine, but he didn't sort of want cognac. And then she's going, well, here, do this. And because she said there's you're two people. You're the lover and you're the killer. You know what I mean? You're both those people. Because she had to probably live with that with her husband. Because her husband running that plantation is probably killing people. And
that's what Laura does. Yeah.
As a lover. So then she takes off her clothes and then seems to close all the netting up. And then you have no idea if they slept together. But they must have. She's not going to get naked in front of him and then go sleep in another bed.
Yeah. So some of it was sort of like very ambiguous. Same with the end. He gets on the boat and is like, does he make it back home? And was the beginning really the flashbacks, or was it actually what he was feeling when he went in? Like they sent this damaged person in to go find this guy.
That's why I think so, because he was so stable and didn't even want to drink. You didn't even in other words, you watched him through that and you saw none of the instability.
Right.
And then you saw at the end him being absolutely wrecked, tied up in that thing, dragged through the mud. Yeah. So he had to have had that thing at the end. I think you saw that. That's why they didn't show him being saved, because he made it back.
Yeah. I'm just not brave enough to start watching it again to see if I can see. It's asking too much.
GPT and say, is the beginning scene the indicative of the end of the movie?
Yeah, it could be. But
yes, yeah. I liked it. I really, really liked the movie. It was gory, and scary at times, but
it was different, and I'm glad I went out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, sure. But was it a pleasure to watch?
No, but I don't think there is a single war movie that you can say is a pleasure to watch.
No, but then there's ways that you can feel like you're learning things.
I thought Young Lions was not a pleasure to watch, but
I'll watch the Benedict Cumberbatch movie.
You mean the one about the Enigma?
Yeah. I'll watch that one instead. Not that one. That's not the next one though.
You know what the fans of Benedict Cumberbatch call themselves? The Cumber Bitches. Well, people get fans. So yeah, people like Marlon Brando, they were known as great actors. So Martin Sheen went up against them and held his own as near the beginning of his career compared to what he's done recently. But yeah, lots of big stars.
When I saw Martin Sheen in that, I thought, does he ever look like not a direct combo of Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen? It was so eerie to see him and go, that's not Emilio Estevez.
Estevez.
What? Estevez? I'm like, oh my goodness. They looked like the genetics.
Well, the
Yeah.
movie Platoon came out just after this one, and Charlie Sheen was in that one. And
Oh, really?
that was his breakout, like Oscar kind of performance.
Okay, so
Well-
Stacey, we wonder what you would have said. But
Yeah, can you add stuff later, Jeff, if she does a little video?
I think
blurb?
our next one, maybe we'll give her a couple of minutes to.
Should I just play the thing where she says Jeff is right, Jeff is correct? I agree with Jeff.
No,
I think that's already made an appearance.
no.
But we missed you,
Absolutely not.
Stacey.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
We will see you the next time.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
So Jen will come up with a movie that is.
I have to go over the list of the movies that you
We've already
guys
seen.
saw. Anita just sent me. So, can I put it in the chat later?
Yeah, and in
Right.
fact, here's what you do: put all those movies into ChatGPT, and then say, "Give me a couple of movies that sort of fit with this genre. Find me some more movies that of all those." And then
Well,
it
I'm gonna
comes-
switch. I'm gonna switch genres now to something totally different. I haven't figured out one of two. I just have to. They're
You've
both
never
on
had a
MB.
horror movie. You've never had a horror movie.
Okay, well then, I have one in mind.
You're gonna do Scream or Scream 2?
No, it's not a horror, but it's not a drama. So I don't know what.
Yeah, you usually have to give us a couple choices in case someone is like, "Oh, I've just seen that one and
Okay,
don't
so
want to do
so
it."
the one that I was thinking of is The Mist with
Never
Stephen
seen it.
King,
Okay.
or Arrival.
Did
Not
we do-
horror.
Did we do Arrival? I'm sure we did Arrival.
What
With
was
Amy
Arrival?
Adams.
What was Arrival about?
Amy
Arrival,
Adams about
Amy-
the octopus aliens.
It is an alien movie.
The aliens that look like octopuses. Yes, we saw that movie. I'm sure.
I
we
haven't
did.
seen it yet. So what about The Mist then?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
good for me.
Probably.
Where's
I mean,
the Arrival? I seem to think we did it too, but I don't see it.
I haven't seen either one of them, so I wanted to
Okay. Well, we will see all of you mini fans. Like and subscribe next month.
press the button.
Anita and Jeff movie review Arrival 2016.
There you go.
A year ago.
All right.
We didn't do it 2016.
Exactly, it says 1 year ago. And we got 33 views on
Oh
it.
yes, August 2024. Yes, we did do it.
Wow, great complicated movie, is what somebody said.
Well, we already said goodbye.
Not
Now
me.
we're talking more, so you have to stop the recording, or you have to keep talking.
Finally, this is the first. I said we did Arrival, and you went. I said,
I just
normally,
can't
if you
remember it.
say- Normally, you say we've done that. I went, nope. There's no way we watched that movie. You are
Right.
dead wrong. Oh crap! That was 4 years
No,
ago.
it sounded familiar, but not familiar enough for me to declare.
And I remember talking about it. That I liked that movie a lot. I thought it was-
I will watch it on my own. I've already started on MB. But
Yeah,
yeah,
do watch
The
it
Mist
and
will
talk
be the
about
next
it
one.
in the next thing, because I really like that movie. I wouldn't mind talking about it again. I mean,
I'll let you know when I watch it.
Okay, we'll see you
Okay.
all next month.
Okay.
Take
Bye,
care.
Stacy.
bye.
There's only one watching.
Bye.